No, you don't. The thing that changed it for me, the thing that changed it for me was more, I want to be around for my kids
and engaged.
Yeah. Like I don't want to be on the couch. I want to be outside. I don't want them in front of an iPad all the damn time. I want to be engaged, and I feel a real weight on my shoulder to try to get them outdoors and to get them into the hunting lifestyle. Not just because of what we do in the family business, not because of that, because you see the numbers and the decline, and it's really eye-opening. It's like, man, if I don't do it, who the hell is? So you not only are leading by example, but you want to be in just better condition mentally, physically, just so you want to go do those things. This episode of DOD TV is brought to you by Phorm, the foundation of high performance nutrition. Join the Legion of Boom today.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the DruryOutdoors 100% Wild podcast, episode number 196. I am Tim Chelsvik.
I'm Matt Drury, and we have a couple special guests today.
We got Kitson and Jake Arvold from Phorm, and this show's title is Your Formula for Hunting Fitness. Yeah,
so, you know, kind of the backstory here for you may have seen us starting to kind of talk about Phorm over the last year a little bit more and more. I've probably been talking about it for the last 3 years or so. And it's kind of the way this relationship has formed. Basically, Phorm is a St. Louis based company. We're based here in St. Louis. And Kyle McClellan, who is on the DruryOutdoors team and obviously an athlete. He was former Cardinal pitcher. Yeah.
I wondered how
he is really good friends with Sal Frisella from Phorm. And I remember him telling me about it years and years ago. He's like, man, I really need to introduce you guys. You know, I think you guys really hit it off. And so we started talking and just kind of formed a friendship. And, you know, over the span of a couple years, we finally kind of got together and said, you know what, I think that there's something that our audience can benefit from this relationship, you know, just kind of the education piece of becoming a little more healthy in your lifestyle.
You said the H word.
Yeah. So, I mean, these guys might be workout fiends, but you don't have to necessarily be Mr. Olympia to be, you know, healthier, right? Like there's all kinds of ways to approach it. And, you know, the backstory a little bit more is like when I was 35, you know, I had a couple kids and it's like all of a sudden I'm thinking I'm out of shape. I'm overweight. I'm, you know, does this affect me sitting in a deer blind? I don't know. Probably not. But does this affect my overall life and just kind of my productivity and just in general how I feel? And so the relationship kind of has progressed and now we're officially partnered up and doing stuff together. And we thought it'd be a good opportunity to bring these guys on because these guys are both diehard hunters, right?
Yep.
And that's a good part of the equation here is like, all right, well, how does it, like before you turn it off, like bear with us and listen to this because I think it can affect just about anybody. Everybody's on a health kick. Come January 1st, it seems like, you know, a lot of people are like, man, I got to do something. But by February 1st, are you still on it? And it's not that you want to be on a health kick. You want to just change some habits in your lifestyle and do a little better in general. And it's been like a 5-year journey for me to get, and I'm not where I want to be
still
yet.
Not there yet.
And I don't know that I ever will be, but that's part of it. Right. And
You're not there today.
Anyways, I thought it'd be cool to have these guys on, BS a little bit, you know, have a couple fart sounds on the soundboard. Is it the soundboard? See? So now you're part of it. You're part of the team.
Yep.
Welcome.
Some may not be from the soundboard.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So why don't you guys start out, like back up a little bit and tell us about how you got into hunting? Because I'm always fascinated to hear how people end up in this lifestyle.
Yeah.
Good. I'll start.
Okay. Yeah. HB.
So basically, when I got into it was in my early 20s. I was dating somebody, and you know, I grew up.
What was his name?
Yeah. Oh, that's how this is going to go.
No,
okay.
I've been told that's a joke. Like you say that and then people laugh.
That's what she said.
But this person's dad was a diehard hunter. I mean, he lived it, breathed it. I did very little of it. And I kind of learned from him. And I'm telling you what, I guess I was in my mid-20s. For the first 3 or 4 seasons, I hunted every single day. from bow season to the end of gun season.
That's a long season.
And then bow season again. I hunted every single day for 3 years.
That's some Mark and Terry stuff.
And I would, you know, at the time I was a carpenter, I would go to work, bring my gear with me. I would bust off at 2:30, dress, and I would be in the woods every single day.
I like it.
And, you know, I just loved it. You know, it was my peaceful time. It still is.
Sure.
You know, so that's kind of how I got into the hunting part of it. It was, you know, it wasn't my dad. It wasn't my family. No one in my family hunts.
That's kind of a
Just
rare
me.
thing. Yeah, like you had like an adult
cool,
mentor that got you into it.
Yep. It was Bill Brown is his name.
Okay.
Oh, Billy Brown.
Billy Brown.
Double B.
Yeah. And he taught me. And when he was out there shooting and practicing, I was out there shooting and practicing.
Nice.
That's what we do.
Nice.
Okay.
Jake, how about you?
That's, you know, I actually, a little bit different than Kit. I feel like I was born in the tree stand with my dad. I've been going out into the woods with him literally from as young as I can ever remember. Wisconsin. Originally, from up in Wisconsin. If you can't hear it in the accent, listen a little
Throw
bit
another
further.
shrimp on the barbie.
Wisconsin. Right? Yeah, exactly. Up there in the Northwoods. You know, it's been a lifelong tradition for me, my family. You know, it was always a big deal to go to deer camp, you know, growing up. There was always 12, 14 of us. We had 7 bunk beds in the old, you know, the tin can, right? The hunting lodge up there. And from there, you know, the other cabin we had was Kitty Wampus. So it was like just the overall tradition. Yeah. And, you know, that was a big thing with my dad was we'd hike out into the woods. I remember being, you know, just like frigging sleeping bag at the foot of his, you know, his feet wrapped up in that thing. And he'd just be like, oh, quiet. And more or less, he just wanted me to be quiet. He'd be like, shut up. Yeah, exactly. He's like,
remember those days.
Fuck, and I'd be quiet.
Last week.
Exactly. So, but really, I mean, I grew up in the tree stand going out with dad. That was my time. You know, some of my dad's and I's memories are in the tree stand going out west. You know, we've been going out to Colorado ever since I was 8 years old. He made sure that if something ever happened to him in the woods, I'd be able to take care of myself in the woods, be able to find my way out of the woods. And it's been, I was going through my wife and I, we just moved and I was going through some of my old stuff and down to the point to where I grew up on a farm up there with about 418 acres and there was like the back 40. And I had every single deer trail mapped out. I have it in a notebook mapped out. I have every water hole. I have every single thing. Like it was a big piece to where I knew I was going to get the buck before dad was. And for some reason, every single year, dad would go through and he'd come back. He's like, I'm sorry, Jake. I'd be like, you so
he looked at your notebook.
He looked at, yeah, exactly. So
some kids keep a diary.
His cheat sheet.
Yeah. So it's been
That's
really
real
cool
dad stuff right there.
Yeah,
Next level dad
He's
stuff.
like, it's like, you know, the dad who makes you go out for Halloween, get all the candy, and then he makes you part it all out,
Then
say
he
he's going to
takes
give it to the
taxation.
kids. But yeah, it's taxation. Yep, exactly.
I have heard of dads who've done that.
Yeah. Were you a guide out west at some point?
I was, yep. So my family, we had Elk Rock Ranch up in northern Wisconsin, elk hunting preserve up there. And through that, I actually got wound up with Cayuse Outfitters out in Idaho. And right out of high school, jumped right into that, got connected up there. They pretty much thought I was going to be like the water boy or the stable boy, I guess you could say. Had the opportunity to go through, actually guide a couple individuals because the head of the establishment out there got a little bit of a knee injury and everything. So it was like my shot, time to shine and
get off the bench.
Yeah,
and
get off the bench. It's like, all right, this is my time. And went out. We ended up putting a 352 bull into the record book, Pope and Young record book for Idaho.
Nice.
And it was after that, I didn't miss a single weekend of guiding. So it was a good experience.
New guy, get over here.
Exactly. Go. So, but yeah, that was a good experience overall. And that's really, you know, even as we get in, I know we're going to talk a little bit more about the fitness side of things, but it's tying in the, you know, being ready for anything life throws at you, whether you're in the deer stand in the Midwest, you're climbing the mountains in Colorado, the fitter you are, the healthier you are overall allows you to experience more of those family traditions, right? And actually enjoy them, not suffer.
Yeah, not die.
Right.
Trying to do it.
Death avoidance techniques.
You're right.
DAT.
Yeah. So, you know, if you guys want, you should follow both of these guys on Instagram. It's a good follow. And one of the things the other day you were in the gym mentioning, you know, being ready and fit and able to go to the next level when you go on those Western hunts. You know, there's definitely a growing population of people that are doing these Western trips, you know, early season Western trips. And you always hear about people getting in Elk Shape. And of course, Cam Hanes has made it famous and you know, talking to Joe Rogan on their podcast. And it's amazing kind of what has spurred into our industry because of the stuff that Cam and Joe have talked about there. And it's kind of filtered through like a bigger population, and being Elk Shape ready is a little different probably than needing to be like Midwest whitetail ready, I would think.
Yeah. Cause I was going to say that's a sword that cuts both ways. Cause I think sometimes, you know, obviously it inspires people to get in better shape, but I think it can have the opposite effect sometimes. And people see a specimen like a Cam Hanes and think, I could never, I could never get to that level.
And ask the question, like, why do I need to be at that level? You know, he is you said it, he's a specimen. Like that's
genetic
straight beast mode
in a good way.
And it's mentality. He's got the mentality. He's going to be the best. He's going to work harder than everybody in the room and all that stuff. So your average guy might look at that and be a little intimidated and see like, well, do I need to
maybe
be
I can't even do, am I able to go do that?
Yeah. But you're kind of here to say you don't have to be that level, but you can start. You can always just start, right? One foot in front of the other, one meal at a time, one day at a time, one workout at a time. Hell, just going on a walk, right? You know, dude, get moving.
I've literally we have like our actual transformation challenge going on right now. And through this entire process, the majority of my workouts that I've done, like outside of, you know, compound movements, has been just getting up and going for a 45-minute walk.
That's really surprised me because I see Andy's Instagram, Andy Frisella's Instagram. He's walking a lot. And
he said before he doesn't like to run. So
if you're running, if he's running, you better run too, because there's something a heck of a lot scarier than he is. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, and that's and you and I have talked about, because Tim's more of a long distance guy, right, and endurance athlete, and I just hate running. I hate doing it, and so when I get rolling with cardio, it's amazing what 3 miles, 45-minute walk will do for you if you're consistent with that. And that's one thing that I've noticed. Like you don't have to go kill yourself to make improvements.
And that's something that normal people can do. Like you can go out, take your kids, kids for a walk, or go on a walk with your wife in the evening when you get home from work.
Now, I will say it feels a little different when the kids are with us, or even when Raina's with us. It's a little slower. It's a lot of pausing. Like if I'm tracking it on my watch, I'm always like, all right, pause. I'm like, let's look at this rock. All right, let's pick it back up. I get 50 yards in front of them. I got to pause it again so they can catch up. So the quality of the walk, there is probably something to be said for that.
And I think that's, something to go off of that too. The fact that you're actually taking your kids out and doing that, because it's just like taking kids out into the woods. Yeah. Right? Like they, like attracts like in that side of things, to where it's like, if you can actually get kids, because that's a big piece for me too, just as I get older and my wife and I look at having kids, is like, all right, are you leading by example? I want hunting to be a tradition that I'm able to take them out and enjoy too. But same thing, I want to be a dad that's not, saying, oh, I'll set you up in the stand and, you do everything you need to. I want to be one that's like, hey, pushing them up the mountain. Yeah. Right. I want them to be able to go
be
out
there with them.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be able to experience that for as long as possible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a legacy aspect.
100%.
Like I want my kids to enjoy and love the outdoors. I want to be there for as long as I can to help them do that.
That's a good point, because it's like, I keep going back to this. Do you have to be in the best shape of your life?
Do you have to look like me to
go whitetail hunting? No, you don't. The thing that changed it for me, the thing that changed it for me was more, I want to be around for my kids
and engaged.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to be on the couch. I want to be outside. I don't want them in front of an iPad all the damn time. I want to be engaged, and I feel a real weight on my shoulder to try to get them outdoors and to get them into the hunting lifestyle. Not just because of what we do in the family business, not because of that, because you see the numbers and the decline, and it's really eye-opening. It's like, man, if I don't do it, who the hell is? So you not only are leading by example, but you want to be in just better condition mentally, physically, just so you want to go do those things. I can tell you at 30 years old, I didn't really give to, what's to go outside and be outside and do those things. But at 35 and I started changing my mentality, and at 40, I feel better at 40 than I did at 25 or 30 and want to be more active.
Yeah.
I think back to my 20s and how much time I wasted inside, hungover after a night out. A lot of beer. You know what I mean? Like just different priorities. I think a lot of people probably can relate to that. But I just thought like, God damn, I wasted so much time that I could have been doing something so much more productive. And I feel more productive when I'm in this mode and this mentality than I did that mentality.
I don't know if this has been the case for you guys. My sense of mortality is changing as I age. Like I have friends that I graduated with in high school that are no longer here.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Like that's happening.
Especially at my age.
Yeah.
I just thought you had gray hair. I thought you were young.
Dude, it's a real thing. And you look at it and it can be as simple as this. Okay, so you have to climb a tree to get in your stand. Is it going to be easier to climb that tree for 10 pounds lighter? Absolutely. Is it going to be easier to walk that 200 yards to your stand if you're 10 pounds lighter? Absolutely. And it doesn't take that much of a change. Little things. It doesn't take that much of a change to make those changes, not only for yourself, but dude, if you got kids, I got an 11-year-old and I have a newborn.
Bum, bum.
Yeah, quite a gap in there.
It's a lot more gray hair.
But
yeah,
at my age, I'll be 50 in April. I think of what you just said. It is about the future for me. What I have thought, my thought process at 30 compared to now is not even close to the same.
No.
The things that are important to me now are way different than when I was 30.
Yeah.
And the health part, and when I was 30, I was banging. I mean, I was bodybuilding. I was a monster. That has all changed. I do love the gym part, and that is a big piece of me. I mean, I've been in this fitness industry for over 20 years. But my thought process of how to do the work and how to get my kids involved in it.
Get smarter about it.
Yes. So it has all changed, but little changes. It doesn't take that much.
You mentioned something about like climbing a stand. That's one thing that I did notice, like in my late 20s, early 30s, it's like, man, I started really putting on the pounds from 30 to 35 and a lot changed there. Got married and the kids and, just wasn't doing as much and probably eating worse. And, and it got to a point where it's like, even just climbing, getting to one point to the next, I was like, God, this should not be this hard. Putting socks on, bending over, like these things should not be hard. And then it's like, all right, pulling the bow back. That was a big one. I started really getting tendonitis and just generally speaking, like arthritis in my arms a lot, just from being at the desk job. Yeah. Right. And this has helped with that a lot. Every year I notice the same thing, even since I started working out. Every year around Halloween time is when I stop kind of working out because the heart of the season hits. And I'm just trying to kind of maintain for a couple months to get through the rest of the season. Well, that's when Halloween and candy at the house and and then all the treats for the holidays and it's the sugar intake. Like I end up getting every year like tendonitis so bad and inflammation. Yeah. And it takes me getting back into the workout mode or not diet. It's really back to healthier eating habits and kind of purging some of that crap out of my diet. Right. And then I start feeling good. Like by the time summer hits, I'm always feeling great. Like I'm like, oh man, I'm back. And then every year, like I'm starting to get smarter about it because I'm starting to realize what it was. You taking certain things away from your diet. What was it that was making you feel bad? Now I pretty much identified. For me, it's like that candy or that sugar or those things and getting off of my habits, it makes a huge difference. And ultimately, to go full circle, that always ends up affecting how I feel when I draw my bow and how long I can hold it and those types of things. So in a roundabout way, you really are, I mean, that's the point of this podcast. You really are affecting your hunting and you just may not realize it, how well you can do it,
Yeah, they're indirect benefits. Yeah. So back when I was Fat Tim, so I was
Are we going to put a picture up in the podcast?
I'll pull one up. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Because I think it's important because people think like once you get to a certain weight, there's no going back. It's not true because I've told you guys I stopped weighing myself when I hit 240 because I just figured, well, I'm big. What's the difference if I'm 270 or 240, whatever? Right. And I'm like 5'10" ish. So I remember going on a turkey hunting trip and buying a 1 pound bag of potato chips for lunch. Yeah, that was my lunch.
Snack.
And if I were to even think about kind of eating healthy, it just shut me down. Like I don't want to drink wheatgrass juice. I don't like that's not my life.
I'm not a rabbit.
Yeah, exactly. I eat rabbits. I'm not one, that kind of thing. Yep.
But that was my own misconception. Because you don't have, like, you can still enjoy food because that's the other part of the equation here is I think people hear this conversation like, I don't want to mess with eating like a rabbit. Yeah. I want to eat real food. So I don't even want to go down this path, but that's a misconception.
Yeah. I eat I may have the biggest thing that I probably cut out were like eating a lot of bread and like pasta. Those are the only two things that, cause I know for me, like that's what really packs it on. But in general, I pretty much eat what I want still. It's just that portions are different and you know, the timing of it might be different and the amount of protein that I get in my diet is different. Like those are the things that have changed the most.
And I'd like to hear from Jake what you guys are.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like just hearing what you guys have to say, just kind of like, the Midwestern lifestyle, right? Like growing
Casey's
up on a
pizza,
farm,
man.
Butter, gravy,
Casey's, any of it. Yeah. I mean, Coors Light, it all falls into the same categories. But
we're in St. Louis. That's Bud Light.
Yeah, Busch Light.
Hey,
Busch
all
Light.
right. Easy.
Still new to the area.
Guys inside this room
up in Wisconsin.
Busch Light.
If you think about it though, like, growing up, hunting, fishing, all those things, well, it's that pastime to where you're out on the farm. I think about, working on the farm. Most of the time when you're out there driving a tractor all day long, you're sipping on Dr. Pepper, different sodas, you're bringing the bag of chips. Like never in my time growing up, and even with my dad, like it was never really like protein was never prioritized, right? When in reality, it's the godfather of macronutrients, really. And I mean, right off the top of my head, right there.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. But you think about it's like but you don't when you're younger and in that life, it was always growing up with, I got 2 younger brothers. You show up, you just come in, grab food, and you're right back out the door. Right. It was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, whatnot. So you never really had an idea of what you were actually taking in. And that's, I think, being aware of what you're eating is really the most important thing, right? And just making it simple. It doesn't have to be the wheatgrass. It doesn't have to be everyone growing up. It was always like the cleanses and all this stuff. And I still like all these fad things when it's like, it really comes down to like, let's just focus on the basics and make simple little changes that literally, can literally change someone's life and save someone's life.
That's the one thing about you guys' app that's helped me the most. The premium version of the app, you really can dive into your macros. I couldn't have 3 years ago even begin to understand what macros were, how you count them, what you do with them. Like didn't care to. It just seemed like too complicated to me. Yeah. And that really made it a lot easier for me to see, something that I thought that was helping me was hurting me, whatever the food may be. It's really changed my mentality on it. And so now I'm sure Randa hates this, but I'm like, that's not good for you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she does.
Yeah. I'm like, ooh, that's a high in carbs.
I gotta say, it screwed me up last week on the show when you're like, oh, I wonder if there's something you can use to track what kind of food I was like, are you talking exactly about my transformation?
Yeah, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
I was deep teasing
big time
for this episode.
So people that are listening are now coming full circle. Because I've been using the app. I'm doing the My Transformation Challenge. I've dropped a few pounds, and it's not, I'm just trying to get a little more trim and a little more discipline. Because over time, I find I drift a little bit. It's nice to have some accountability and really watch, to see where, I have way more fat in my diet than I really need. And so
that's been eye opening.
Yeah, that's
quickly. The fat side counts out.
Yeah.
It's easy to take take in.
Peanut butter and cashews and stuff that I was like, just a handful here, handful there, whatever. It's like, man, that really
realized that trail mix bag was not like one serving, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
I used to make a meal out of it.
Exactly.
Same. Like a fourth of a cup is actual serving, and that ain't nothing.
Makes me not want to buy it because I'm going to eat the whole thing.
Yeah, like, this is nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. So one thing that I did want to also cover, I wanted to keep it fairly short, and because I'm sure there's a big part of our audience that this may not interest, but
they're not listening now, anyways.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point. But I did want to talk about like one of the first things I started working out here locally with a trainer. We all know Logan Thompson. That's how you and I, Kit, got kind of connected through Logan.
Right.
And he's a hunter. He's a hardcore hunter. And one of the workouts that we were working on right out of the gate were things that helped me draw more weight or hold my draw longer. Like maybe give us a couple just straight, like easy exercise, functional things that someone can do, even maybe at home type stuff that would help you, try to start down the path of being a little bit better in shape.
I always go back to this workout and it's very simple. It's kind of CrossFit-ish, but you don't need anything to do this workout. 100, 200, 300.
I do that like 4 times a week, man. I'm serious.
And you don't have to actually start at 100, 200, 300 if you don't want to. Start out with 25, 50, 75.
Yeah.
Whatever the number is. And it's supposed to be pull-ups, push-ups, air squats. A lot of times people are not going to have the ability to do that pull-up part.
Right. Yep.
So do sit-ups, push-ups, and air squats.
Yep.
It's simple. If you build up to 100, 200, 300, might take 3-4 weeks. It's simple. You can do it at home. And it works.
So so the 30 for the Kids challenge. So back to Kyle McClellan, Brace for Impact, his foundation that he has founded. And so one of the things that they do with First Phorm in conjunction with First Phorm is a 30 for the Kids, 30 days where you're working out. Usually it's two months in a year. You guys, 2 different times a year, you guys do a 30 for the Kids challenge. And that's where that was one of the workouts you could pick up.
Yep.
There was like 4 or 5 different workouts you could pick from.
Yep.
And when it's raining outside or I can't go do the run or the walk, that's the one I always gravitated towards. And the first time I saw him, like, there's no freaking way, man. 100 push-ups, 200 sit-ups, 300 air squats. And the air squats are the killer because
they will sneak up on you.
They sneak up on you. So, cause I just broke it into 5 rounds. I do, the 5 rounds to get through the numbers. But now it's like, anytime I feel like doing an at-home workout, that's my go-to because it's so easy. I pound it out in like 20, 25 minutes now. It's really not that hard once you're accustomed to doing it. I think a couple of weeks ago, it was just crappy outside. I did, I think 4 or 5 of those through the week and because I couldn't get into the gym with Logan. So it's like, man, I still want to continue my progress and doing something. And it's amazing. Just push-ups alone, just 100 push-ups a day alone. That's something Logan taught me. Like, it's amazing what that does for your body.
Right.
Start wide for do even sets, but wide and then shoulder length and then that diamond, below you. It's amazing the different parts of, your upper body you're working or your shoulder, your back, your chest. Let's do it right here on this table.
Yeah, exactly.
Take it off, man.
But that's a super easy thing and you don't need anything. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need anything.
And it gets overlooked so many times, and I'm a big proponent just within like the compound movements. I know you saw that on my story and everything yesterday, but it's really, when you look at it, as like, what's going to help you with like longevity of life, right? Your shoulder health. You see individuals have, shoulder surgeries, back shoulder, knee surgeries, all these things that the joints start going out. So it's like doing something like 100, 200, 300, you're having a multifaceted joints like moving and you're keeping them healthy. You're helping with connective tissue. Yeah. Honestly, like if you can do that, you're going to be able to get in the tree stand a lot more.
Heck yeah. All right. We got some shout outs we need to get to. We got Chris McComber from YouTube. He says, great show, guys. LOL. Look forward to it every Wednesdays.
What's he LOLing about?
Kinda. LOL. LOL is street talk for laugh out loud.
Thank you, Tim. I'm thinking, why is he LOLing so much? What was the podcast he listened to? We must have had a lot of soundboard in that podcast.
This was, I think, in regards to the Rage Chinese knockoffs podcast.
Gotcha. All right. So the next one one. Sheldon Horse, DeerCast guy, said, great podcast like always. Thanks for the info. Always buy my rage from Cabela's. It's probably a good. We had an episode where one of the main guys from Faradyne, who owns Rage and a bunch of other products, came on and talked about Chinese knockoffs and how. I wonder, do you guys deal with? I'm sure there's a bunch of crap protein or supplements out there in your industry as well, because it isn't necessarily FDA. Not everybody's like FDA conscious about that stuff.
Well, the FDA actually does not regulate the supplement industry at all.
Yeah.
So what that actually means is a maker can actually make a product and the label doesn't have to match what's in the product.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So all of our products are made in a Schedule 3 FDA inspected facility. It doesn't mean that they are okayed or anything by the FDA, because the FDA doesn't govern supplements. But what that does mean is everything is tested as a whole unit, and then it is tested again after the product is put together, and it has to match what is on the label.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you know what you're purchasing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, it would be just like the Chinese knockoff.
Yeah.
It might say Rage with 2 G's.
Yeah.
But it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
The reggae.
You know?
The Ranger.
Right. So yeah, that's a difference that our company has always stood by.
Yeah.
And it's something that we do different than 99.9% of the supplement makers in the country.
So for anybody that may not be familiar with what First Phorm is or who they are, like that's one thing you ought to dive into. I would put you out there with some of the class companies that we deal with. So like in your industry, in our industry, like a Leupold, classy organization, that does everything the right way.
Tier 1.
Yep.
Tier 1,
Yep.
Exactly. Tier 1, Bruce's comment. We had Bruce Pettit from Leupold on a couple weeks ago. Moss Yoke, the Bass Pros, these are quality companies that have built a really good name for themselves, and First Phorm's kind of got that following over in your industry. What would be, before we head out, like what would be one thing product wise that somebody could get into and say, this could help me in many ways? Like I don't have to be a workout person, or what could help me improve my life?
Everything starts with a multivitamin with me, so it's impossible for you to take in the nutrients, the micronutrients or macronutrients even, in a day from the food you eat. It doesn't matter how good you eat, even if you try to do it perfect, you're going to be missing some of those things.
Yep.
Microfactor, which is, our vitamin pack, it has all the tools that can help with that.
Yep.
I always start every person with that. I think it's one of the smartest things. You don't have to have supplements. You don't have to use anything that we make if you can eat perfect. The problem is it's impossible to do that. So that's when our supplements help people.
It's like analogics for the deer herd, right?
Yeah,
it's like
100%.
you're supplementing things that you can't otherwise get.
Right. So I always start people with that Microfactor daily nutrient, macronutrient pack.
Take it every day.
Yep.
Yep. And I mean,
Makes your pee yellow.
Well, just kind of going off of that, like, the microfactor, it is. I mean, you having that total comprehensive daily nutrient packet there, it's super easy, convenient. I mean, I keep one in my dot bag when I'm traveling, you can go out to dinner. But then even outside of the microfactor, like a big thing for me is definitely looking at like the Optigreens, right? I think that's where, especially a lot of guys think like all that frou-frou stuff is for, the girls kind of thing. The greens or the teas and different things. But really when you look at like Optigreens itself it is comprised of choice, like just fruits and veggies ingredients within there. But then you're looking at the probiotics and the digestive enzymes. When you look at the Midwest lifestyle, the foods we eat. So whether you're getting into the healthier lifestyle or you're already an advocate, like those greens are going to really help your body utilize and partition those macronutrients you eat to the best of their ability, function better.
It's funny, like a decade or so ago, Jim Tomey, we'd always be over at his lodge hunting. And okay, so this is an athlete that's at the top of his game at the time. And he was always like trying to get Dad or I to drink the greens.
Yep,
It was greens, you know, a decade ago. Like, no, you try it. Like, no way, dude, not doing it. But it's something that you see so much more all over the, you know, in a lot of different ways. You see it all over the place now. And it's just, I think, becoming a little more accepted. Like, hey, you're not getting these things. It's going to help your overall gut health.
Right.
Which again goes back to a lot of things that can happen for not having good gut health.
Right.
So cancer wise, like that's something that guys really need to be worried about too. So there's a lot of benefits out of it. Yeah. The taste, I like to mix it with the reds, greens, reds, and the EA, the lemon drop EA.
Lemon drop.
That's
That's a combo.
Dude,
that's a combo.
Every morning, like that's what I drink instead of coffee or anything like that. That's about 18 ounces of water, that boom with the microfactor pills and I'm done. Plus the full omega pills.
Right.
So anyways,
yeah,
there's a you could geek out on like anything in life, you know, whether it was hunting, whether it was your bow setup, whether it was your arrows, or, you know, like I remember a conversation we had with Greg Glessner on the fletching and different arrow sizes and all this stuff. You can geek out with anything and go down to like the nth degree.
RC helicopters.
There you go, Tim. Favorite of yours. So it's just a matter of all that stuff kind of seems really intimidating for me. Just like DeerCast, here's a very easy correlation. For those of you that were a little intimidated by, I just don't know. I go hunting, but I don't ever see anything. What am I doing wrong? And DeerCast kind of helps you understand the education side of it. That's what their first format really did for me. It helped me. And there's videos, there's tutorials, there's so much stuff in there. It is very educational, but broke down to the dummy, you know, the dummy and me kind of mentality that you could figure it out.
Yeah, 100%. So, and the other thing is having a connection with someone who can help you. Like, like having a real person that has walked your path.
Made a difference.
All that
for sure.
So I could plug my Facebook group.
But you're not.
Was that a subtle plug?
if folks do want like someone to kind of, I've got a little Facebook group going.
But I am. Okay.
I was like, it's coming.
Because I know when I started, like I didn't know, and I did so many things wrong, and I would have killed to have someone to kind of help me level out the learning curve there. So I'll link it up in the show.
You got to look at it like this, and I'll just end with this. These are tools. All of the things that we make are tools for you to use if you need them. You may not. But just like a bow, there's different tools on that thing that some people need, a sight, a quiver, or whatever. Supplements are just like that. These are all tools to fill holes in the things that you don't take in to make yourself better.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Damn.
And you don't really have to be a workout person for those, like those foundational health things.
Lifestyle.
Those two
that's why we looked at them, is like they're foundational overall.
Well, appreciate you guys coming in, man. It was fun. And
thanks for having us.
Yeah, look forward to seeing what we can cook up this next year. Hopefully Tim got you out in the woods this past year. So
definitely
do some more of that.
Be good.
Yeah, maybe we'll try to kill a turkey this spring.
Hey, I'm down. That's for sure. Any way we can get out.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Next week we'll have our wildlife word in case people were missing it in our question of the day, because I'm sure they're hanging on to the very end to see if it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, everyone.
Till next time. Peace out.
Thanks.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV was brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's.